All right, guys, here we are, Game 3 between Alternate.Socke and Dignitas.SjoW, and we are on the map Telde Rim Altar. Now, right now, SjoW is down 2 games. There he is in the red, playing Terran in the upper left, and he needs to win this to get some traction back in the match. I mean, obviously, there's still some more games left, even if he loses this and goes down 3-0. But this is kind of one of those games where it's a big sort of morale situation, right? If you go down 3-0, that's a big deal. It's a big mental blow. But if you are 2-1, it's a much better place to be in. But to do it, he has to beat this guy in the teal down the bottom right, playing Protoss from the team Alternate. It is, or Alternate Attack, it is Socke.
These guys are very mannered, keeping the same color.
That's nice.
I appreciate
nice.
it. I appreciate it.
People kind of tend to have their preferred colors, though, sometimes. Like, I prefer green when I play.
I always wanted to know where the name Alternate Attacks came from, because it's spelled weird. It's ATTAX is the
That's just
second
extreme,
name of it. So
man.
Alternate Attacks.
Just, you know, because the kids like their X's and things. They like their extremeness.
So we should propose that they switch it to Alternate ATTAXXXXXXX.
All the extreme cereals nowadays.
It's true.
Extreme hula hoops.
Extreme sugar.
That's right. Essentially, that's what a skip it was, right? An extreme hula hoop for your ankle, sort of. Do you remember those things?
I do remember skip it.
Oh man, I
in fact had a skip it.
We may be making ourselves appear very old to some of our
newer viewers, younger viewers.
They may not know about skip it.
Totally had to skip it.
I still have that song stuck in my head.
I have a very large scar on me as a result of a skip it. Because it's not because of the skip it directly. I was
going to say, I was like,
but it does tie into it, because I had the skip it on the ground, and I had my bicycle, and I was like driving like very tight circles around the skip it. I was like using it, and I fell off my bike and skidded across the pavement.
Ouch.
And so because of a skip it now, I have a large scar.
It indirectly caused it. Wow, that's crazy. I thought you meant you had like a skip it that had like razor blades on it, or something where you don't skip it.
If
you don't skip it, you lose your foot. Wow.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. All right.
So it's funny you mentioned skip it. I'm very well acquainted with skip its.
Is that, would you say, your most embarrassing scar?
No, my most embarrassing scar by far.
All right, skip it.
When I was in college. We were at a party at the park, and a guy had a recumbent bicycle, which was very cool. As we see, I just want to go ahead and point out for everyone right away, SjoW going up to a factory off of 1 gas. We'll see if he goes to a second gas here in a second, decides to 1-1-1 on this map, or if he has something more like Cloak Banshees up his sleeve, as he is already moving out just a little bit.
Oh, I have something to add to that real quick here.
Go ahead.
I do want to hear your scar story, but SjoW may have picked this map because it's a great map for like siege tank expands and like Marine Marauder siege tank pressure against Protoss. It's an awesome map for that. Not so good in cross positions, but that may be kind of what he was thinking. He has been known to do that from time to time in TVP. So I'm wondering if maybe that's kind of what he's thinking. He is getting a reactor on that barracks, so it looks a little bit more likely. We'll see.
All right, so we'll definitely check that out here in a bit.
But anyway.
He is floating that to the low ground now with a reactor of its own and a second barracks coming up. So interesting build from SjoW. Real quick, though. So recumbent bicycle, riding it, going down a hill, and don't know where the brakes are at all. And I didn't adjust the height in any way, shape, or form on it. My friend who had it was quite a bit shorter than I was. So I was in an awkward position driving it as it was, and I was going, we're probably going to see like anywhere from 15 to 20 miles an hour. Tried to use some sort of foot action to stop myself because I didn't know where the brakes were. Flipped over the top of the handlebars and rolled down the hill on the pavement. And you can attest to the scars that are still on my knee as a result of that.
You do have a big scar on your knee, don't you?
There you go.
Wow.
Recumbent bicycles, they are evil.
Craziness. Well, looks like an early robo for Socke. Wants to know what his opponent is doing. I would say my most embarrassing scar is from 3D design class in college.
What?
I was carving, doing a little hand carving. I was carving a little knight out of wood, like a knight with a sword and stuff out of wood. And I was kind of carving this one line in it, right? And the wood block I was using actually broke, and I stabbed myself in the leg with the carving knife. And it was a very sharp knife, so it didn't hurt at all, but there was quite a bit of blood, and I had to get staples and stuff put in it. But yeah, that's my most embarrassing scar: stabbing myself in the leg.
Well, Socke now sees the 2 Hellions making their way out. That's not a fun way to get scars at all.
Yes.
And I imagine Sokke's got to think, hey, something is up. That's an SEV in my base. Wait, hold on.
He's like, Scout?
What?
What? No. All right. So this is good, though, by SjoW. This is kind of what I was talking about. He likes to do these kind of crazy things every once in a while. And if you make a lot of Hellions and surprise Protoss with it, it can be very, very effective. So
supply blocked.
And yeah, that doesn't help either. But we'll have to kind of see how this works out. I kind of feel like this may not be the quickest way to get in there and do damage, but it's interesting. I don't know if I've ever quite seen this done in the way that SjoW is doing it, so I'm interested to see how Socke plans on handling it once it does show up. He is going to have Stim, too, which is going to be pretty nice.
Yes, he is, and a pretty varied biocomposition in addition to the amount of Hellions that are making their way out. And, Socke sees the Marines starting to trudge their way across, turns around, and sees all the Hellions on the right-hand side. He knows this is coming. He's immediately pulling his probes, and it looks like he is going to give up this expansion if it comes to it, and it looks like it will.
Yep. Oh, and these are also, looks like regular flame Hellions. I don't know why I thought that was blue for a moment. I could have sworn that popped out in his blue flame for a second.
Well, looks like
he's
going to have to start preparing his defenses back at home, as a lot of units are coming out now for SjoW.
Yep, might be able to kill off that Nexus. That would be a nice little score for him. But right now he's not being really all that aggressive with this.
No. And Socke knows to start moving into super unit production, and smart choice here to bring in additional sentries, make sure he can force field those. Those units in half.
Yep, that's right. And now is this post patch yesterday, so the observers are building quicker?
I believe so.
I believe it is.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, because Socke did have 2 observers out very quickly. So
yes, he did.
I kind of thought that's what it was. What's the build time?
It was 40 seconds.
40.
So it's before the patch.
The patch just happened. Yeah. So it's kind of wondering about that. And that's a pretty big all-in from SjoW. The SCVs are off the line.
All right, well,
Will it
Stim
be enough?
Finishing up right now. Stim is done. We'll see if Socke has enough to hold this off.
Force fields.
Yeah, he trapped so much of the damage. Oh, no, you're right. They get around the side.
Yeah, almost nice force fields. But it still might be enough. We'll have to see. I mean, even if he loses everything at this expansion, he still will have, a lot more than his opponent, so it's not necessarily a terrible thing.
He's lighting forest fire, so we can't have that.
No, not the trees.
That is true. Well, a Nexus is probably going to fall here in a second. We'll see if Socke can come back and rally against that. Yep. He does manage to pick off a Marauder and a Hellion pretty quickly. Just loses 1 Stalker there. Now finally his Immortal making its way out as well. The Guardian Shield hits. The Immortal was trying to poke down a couple of those Marauders. There's still quite a bit of damage left in this army from SjoW.
It's a pretty scary army from SjoW still after all this, but with 2 Immortals out, I think Socke should be able to hold this off.
Yeah. Wow. Came down right to the wire, but it looks like he will. Take a look at the workers killed. SjoW has killed 21 workers from his opponent, but he's lost 10 himself, and of course pulled a ton more off the line as well. That's 6 more that haven't been mining, and still with that, Socke has maintained a worker and thus a base advantage as well.
Yep, he's going to be able to start chrono boosting those again, and SjoW just really not doing enough damage to win right there. But he did do a certain amount of damage, so the game will go on. But Socke, still has that little edge that he's had every game so far at about this time.
Well, we'll see here as Socke continues to replenish his worker count now, what he's going to follow things up with. He's producing a good number of units for the time being, it appears, reinvesting back into his economy. We'll see if SjoW comes with round 2, or if he is going to build another command center. Looks like he is saving up, initially was saving up towards that 400, but then started another 2 Marauders. Yep.
Marauders are nice.
They are pretty good.
That's what every Terran kind of wrestles with. It's like, I could put down a command center, but I could make Marauders too at this, couldn't I? So it's a struggle, really. You know, as someone who had played Terran quite a bit and still plays every once in a while, it's a tough choice. Command center or Marauders. Command center or Marauders. I don't know.
Marauders usually won out for me, honestly.
Well, they certainly do a lot more damage than command centers, unless it's a planetary.
Yes.
Well,
and both are equal at shooting up in the air as well. So
that's true. That's true.
All right. Well, looks
Marauders
like
can move, though.
Socke checking around the outside there for any additional units, producing another Immortal as his Robotics Bay does finish up. He is back up to 37 workers now. The worker count continues to increase. SjoW cleared up the rocks for a potential 3rd. We'll see if he wants to double expand out of this, do something drastic to try and make his way back in.
Well, he'll need to. I mean, it's again, that situation where SjoW needs to take risks to kind of stay in the game. So, all right, there's a starport. Good job to use that reactor on that. But I don't know, man. It's like every game, SjoW is playing catch-up for one reason or another. I mean, that all-in that he did, I feel like it just came way too late. It did some damage, but it just wasn't early enough to really work. It kind kind of struck me as a situation where like SjoW picked this map with that plan in mind, and then even though it was cross positions where that build doesn't work quite as well, he still went for it anyway.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work out.
Unfortunately not, and looks like Socke's got a perfect view of his opponent for now as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at things. He's making his first Colossus at the moment, going ahead and putting up Thermal Lance. He's back up to 46 workers, going up to his 47, so his economy is quite good as well. SjoW, on the other hand, has only been able to single produce workers, and of course hasn't been able to chrono boost them either, so he's sitting on only 26 SEVs at the moment.
Yeah, that is going to be pretty tough for him. Now, it looks like he's flying a factory across the map to try to do a bit of scouting here. But, you know, I think SjoW is going to do the same thing he did last game, where he's not going to wait very long. He's going to get a little bit aggressive early on, and there he goes with a pretty decent force. He's got 3 Immortals in with this, a decent amount of gateway units. At this point, I don't think he's going to quite attack at the moment. He's just kind of clearing the map to kind of make way for his other units to get there. Yeah, now that he's got his second Colossus finishing up here, he's going to push.
Yeah, if he hits with the second Colossus in range, this is a very powerful attack. As it stands, it's still a very powerful attack, but SjoW does have a lot of units on the high ground. A couple of Force Fields trapping a couple of those units out of there, but trading a Stalker for a Marauder at this point, not exactly what he wants to do.
Well, this is very Marauder heavy, which makes the Immortals quite good, but I feel like Socke needs to be very careful about this.
That was pretty good. SjoW not reacting in time, and does get a few units trapped there. So Socke playing this pretty slowly, pretty smartly. He's got to watch out for that Immortal, or for that Colossus, though. The Colossus is actually sitting at the back doing quite a bit of damage. Finally, the Immortals are going to go down. Third one is the only one remaining, and it does finally fall. This Colossus has racked up a lot of SEV kills. Once again, the economic disparity going to be very large. Second Colossus joins from the side.
That does help a little bit. Oh, one does... excuse me, go down, but SjoW lost a lot of his remaining SCVs defending this, so it looks like Socke is just going to be able to go ahead and attack. I mean, it wasn't maybe the best thing to attack into for Socke, but just like all the other games, he just has that much of an advantage that he can just kind of bludgeon his opponent to death.
Yeah, it looks like the Orbital Command is going to fall here very, very soon. SjoW, though, what is he trying to make? Anything he possibly can back at home, which isn't a whole lot, and it's not going to withstand that kind of firepower.
Yep, that's right, but he'll last longer than he will against that
Death Star.
Yep.
There we go. That's the Stockton and Malone moment I was looking for. So I tossed up a softball for you.
I don't know who Stockton. Oh, that's right. They were
the basketball players.
Basketball players.
You knew this the other day.
Right. They're going to shoot a touchdown, and we're all going to go home happy. It looks like SjoW, though, is the only one who's going to go home from Tal'Darim happy or alive. Yeah. I think we're going to see, or did I say SjoW? I meant Socke.
Yeah.
Obviously, SjoW's...
Yep, SjoW's dead. There's the GG, and Socke is now up 3-0.